Gun Talk host Tom Gresham, Sundays 1 till 4 here on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Mr. Tom, question number one. A new president, Donald Trump, in the White House. Do you think now that there's somebody who's a little more Second Amendment friendly, that gun sales are going to drop?
I don't think so. That was, of course, the prediction is that, that's going to be the end of gun sales because people were buying guns because they were afraid of Barack Obama. I think mostly that stopped about 2 years ago. And I think what we've seen in the last 2 years is steady growth in gun sales because we have new people buying guns, people getting into owning guns, and then they go out and shoot and they go, hey, this is kind of fun. And then they say, honey, we ought to buy another gun. And so we have what we're calling gun owner 2.0 with millennials and young people buying guns and going to the range, having date nights out there. So I don't see a drop off.
Okay, let's get down to business. Donald Trump in the White House. I know there were a bunch, and the one that comes to mind immediately is that weird Social Security people can't have guns executive order of Obama's. What orders, which executive orders of our former president do you think our current president will undo?
As many as possible is the short answer, but you're right. One of the first ones I think Trump's going to do is, first of all, one of the things that under Obama, about 250,000 U.S. veterans have lost the ability to own guns because they go into the VA and in the process of answering some questions, they say, I'd really rather have my wife handle my finances for me. Being that just checks a box, and that goes to the FBI, and they are forever for the rest of their lives prohibited from owning a gun. It's unconscionable, but that's what's going on. Actually, 257,000 of them. And then just recently under Obama, they said, well, let's extend that whole thing of stripping people of their privacy rights on their health to Social Security. So if you go into Social Security, you say, I'd rather have somebody else handle my money for me. I'm not great at handling money. That checks a box. So now anybody on Social Security gets stripped of their gun rights for life if they check that box. That's going to get undone because that's clearly unconstitutional, and there's no due process there.
Tom,
I think probably go ahead, Erin.
Sorry, let me ask you this. For gun owners, which executive orders are most important that they're undone and undone quickly?
There's probably the one that is the most dangerous that people don't know about was about a year ago under Obama. They issued an order that said, if you buy a gun and sell a gun for profit, and it could be, and under their wordings, is if it could be one or two, you could be charged with illegally dealing in firearms, and that could be up to 5 years in prison. Well, it's unconscionable. It's unthinkable. Of course, the whole idea was under Clinton, they got rid of about 250,000 gun dealer licenses. They said, no, you can't have a gun license. And then follow up, they did the old 1-2 punch with Obama. He says, yeah, but you know what? Now that you can't have a license to have your hobby of buying and selling guns, we're just going to say that if you have this hobby, we'll put you in prison for 5 years. It's just nuts. So I think that'll get undone pretty quickly.
There's another one on the list that I'm questioning whether we've even started doing it yet, providing that police, first responders, and school officials get proper training for active shooter situations. Is that something that is on your radar?
It is not. I think all police get training in active shooter situations. Wouldn't be a bad idea for people who work in schools to have that. Of course, I would go one further. I would make it at least available, not required, but available, that people who work in schools get advanced training in handling firearms, and they could have firearms in schools to protect the children.
Excuse me, Tom, sort of tying in with that, I have read that there is sort of a movement. I don't know if it's the NRA, you can tell me, but sort of an idea that the Trump administration is floating that maybe school zones, maybe schools shouldn't be gun-free zones.
Well, there should not be. It's illegal, actually, to have this whole gun-free zone deal. The Supreme Court ruled it illegal, and then Bill Clinton said, find me a way around the law, and got Janet Reno to come back in and somehow do it under the Commerce Clause. It's kind of crazy stuff. But, here's the thing. People say, oh, well, that would be terrible. No, actually, I think there are 6 states now where you can legally carry guns in schools And the reason you don't know about it, because there's been nothing happening about it.
Well, I always say,
Nobody goes crazy.
The reason, there's a reason that guards at the banks are armed. I mean, it just seems, it's ludicrous that there should not be someone trained and well armed at a school, it would seem to me.
We'll take that, Robert, and go one step further. Is it crazy that we will spend money and we will put guards in, armed guards, to protect our money, but we won't use armed people to protect our children?
Tom, one more that catches my eye. Mr. Obama directed the Center for Disease Control to research the causes and prevention of gun violence, like gun shooting is a disease.
Yeah, they've been doing that for years. Actually, Congress spent the CDC their funding for doing that, because way back, and the people need to know the history of this, the head of the CDC that was doing the research, he said, our goal is to ban guns. I mean, he just flat out said it. So, in other words, we will do research, with big air quotes around it, that leads to banning guns. That's why we do this. So Congress said, no, you can't get involved in gun control. Obama said, no, actually, I want the CDC to be pushing for gun control. And so I think that's going to get stripped back out. Yeah, that's just nuts. That's pure, blatant politics.